It was a cold night, and the small town was quiet. 10-year-old Liam walked home from school with a half-eaten candy bar in his hand. He wasn't supposed to take it. But he had stolen it from a local shop, not because he was bad, but because he was hungry and had no money. His parents worked long hours and barely had time for him. He often walked alone. Thinking about the stars and how big the universe might be, that night the sky didn't feel normal. The air was thick, and the wind carried a strange sound. Like a whisper, Liam stopped and looked up. Something flashed across the sky, a burning trail of light moving fast. He thought it was a shooting star, but then it changed direction. It was too low, too fast, and too big. Then, a loud boom shook the trees. Birds flew out. Dogs barked in the distance. And Liam's heart raced. He saw smoke rising from the woods nearby. His legs moved before he could think. He entered the forest, the trees dark and tall like giants. Each step made a crunch under the fallen leaves. He moved toward the smoke, feeling both scared and excited. Then he saw it, a large, broken spaceship half buried in the ground, glowing with strange blue lights. His mouth opened wide, but no sound came out. It looked like something from a movie. But it was real, right in front of him, suddenly. He heard a small noise, a soft cry, like someone was scared and trying not to be heard. Liam followed the sound and found a small girl sitting behind a piece of metal. She didn't look human. Her skin was silver blue. Her eyes big and shining like stars. Her hair floated slightly, even though there was no wind. She was holding her stomach and looked weak. She saw Liam and tried to crawl away. But she was too tired. Liam raised his hand slowly. "It's okay," he said, his voice shaking. "I won't hurt you." She tilted her head, but didn't speak. She looked hungry, like she hadn't eaten for days. Liam reached into his pocket and pulled out the stolen candy. He slowly placed it on the ground and pushed it toward her. She looked at it, sniffed it, then took a bite. Her eyes lit up as she chewed, her face softening for the first time. She ate every piece like it was the best food in the universe. Then she looked at him and placed her small hand on his. It was warm, and for a second, Liam felt like he was floating. A small light passed from her hand to his. A strange glowing mark appeared on his skin. He tried to wipe it, but it didn't go away. She looked into his eyes, and though she didn't speak, he felt like she was saying thank you. Suddenly, loud sounds echoed through the forest vehicles. Dogs, people shouting. Military trucks and flashing lights filled the distance. Liam turned to warn her, but she was already hiding. Her ship began to sink slowly into the ground, covered by metal panels that sealed tight. Within seconds, it vanished under the dirt. When the soldiers arrived, there was nothing left. No wreckage, no lights, just an empty forest. A man in a black suit asked Liam what he saw. Liam told them about the ship, the girl, and the glowing mark. They laughed and said he was imagining things. He showed them the mark, but it was gone. He returned home. Confused and a little sad, no one believed him, not his parents, not his teachers, not even his friends, but Liam never forgot that night. Years passed, and life moved on, but sometimes, late at night, his hand would feel warm, and in the sky, he'd see flashes of light and wonder. Was she still out there, somewhere among the stars? Would she ever come back? He didn't know, but deep inside, he felt something had started that night, something big, something not finished yet and far away, in a place no human had ever been. A young alien girl, now growing stronger, sat on a throne made of crystal and steel. In her hand was a wrapper from a candy bar. She kept it close to her heart, for the boy who had once saved her with a simple act of kindness. And soon she would return, not as a child, but as a queen. Asterisk 20 years had passed since the night Liam gave candy to the alien girl. He was no longer a boy with wonder in his eyes. Now he was a man in a dull factory job, waking up early, drinking cold coffee, and falling asleep to news on a broken TV. His dreams of space and stars had turned into long days and heavy bills. He still walked home alone, just like that night years ago. But now the streets felt smaller, his steps slower. The people around him had changed too. His parents had moved away, his friends had families, and no one ever spoke about the strange night in the forest. They all said it was just a dream, a child's story made up for attention. Even Liam had started to believe that maybe they were right. Maybe he had imagined the glowing mark, the silver-blue girl, the candy, the ship. But some nights when the sky was clear, and the wind felt the same as it did back then, his hand would tingle. Right where the glowing mark had once appeared. He would look up at the stars and whisper, "Are you still out there?" One rainy evening, the world suddenly changed. Liam was walking home through empty streets when every light around him flickered. Street lamps blinked, car alarms rang, and his phone shut off by itself. Then the sky turned red. Not the soft orange red of sunset, but a deep, burning crimson that lit up the clouds like fire. People came out of their homes and stared upward. Above them, floating without sound, was a ship, huge, silver, and shaped like a falling tear. It covered the sky like a shadow stretching across the entire town. No one screamed at first. No one moved. It was too beautiful. Too silent, too strange, too fear. Then the silence broke. A deep, musical hum came from the ship, like a choir of stars singing in a language no one understood. Phones restarted. But only one thing showed on the screen, an image of Liam's childhood face holding the candy in the forest. Below it, glowing letters and strange symbols appeared, and then slowly changed into English. "He gave what he had to save me. I have returned. I seek the boy with kindness in his heart." Liam's breath caught. People turned to him, recognizing the face on their screens. A camera crew found him within minutes, asking who he was and why the aliens wanted him. He had no answer, only memories and questions. Soon after, military trucks arrived again, just like they did 20 years ago. But this time, they didn't laugh at him. They took him in a black car, silent and fast, straight to a hidden airbase where top officials waited with worried eyes and tense voices. They showed him the ship in the sky, still unmoving, still glowing with soft red light. Then they showed him something else, a signal sent from the ship, coded and locked, and no one could read it. Liam didn't know how, but as soon as he looked at the strange letters, they started to shift and change into words. "Liam, you fed me when I was starving. You hid me when I was hunted. Now I return. Not as a child, but as a queen. Come aboard," the generals argued. Said it was a trick, a trap, a test, but Liam knew it wasn't. He felt the warmth in his hand again, stronger now. Burning like the mark was coming back, he whispered to himself. She remembers, they dressed him in a strange silver suit, gave him a communicator, and led him to a launch pad. Above it hovered a smaller ship, sent down from the mothership just for him. It opened without a sound. Light pouring out like mist, Liam stepped inside. Heart pounding, hands shaking. The door closed behind him and the ship rose fast. Too fast for him to breathe. Then, suddenly, silence. He stood in a long hallway, glowing softly, with walls that seemed alive, moving slowly like waves under the sea. At the end of the hallway was a door. And when it opened, he saw her. She stood tall, elegant, her silver blue skin now shining like polished glass, her eyes still bright like stars, her hair floating gently in the air. She wore a crown made of crystal and metal, shaped like falling leaves, but her face was the same, soft and curious, And for a moment, she looked like that scared little girl again. "Liam," she said, her voice like music. He tried to speak, but only nodded. She stepped closer and took his hand. "I never forgot," she whispered. "You gave me kindness when I had nothing. Now, I offer you everything." The walls of the ship lit up, and a large window opened to the stars. A galaxy stretched before them, glowing, turning, waiting. "You are the first human to be welcomed into my empire," she said. "But it is not just a visit. There is a choice to be made." Liam turned to her, eyes wide. "What choice?" he asked. She looked down at Earth, then back at him. "Help me decide if your world is worth saving." And in that moment, Liam knew the candy was only the beginning. Now, the future of Earth might depend on him. And the girl he once saved was now the queen of the stars. The room was silent, except for the soft hum of the alien ship. Liam stood at the edge of a giant window, looking at the endless stars. Earth was a small blue marble far behind them now. The alien queen Vera stood beside him, her crystal crown catching the light like tiny suns. Her eyes glowed, but not with coldness. They glowed like someone carrying a heavy secret. "I want you to see something," she said. Her voice soft but sharp, like a blade hidden in velvet. She touched a panel, and the walls of the room shifted. Turning into a moving image of the past, Liam saw the night in the forest, again the candy. The soldiers, the ship sinking into the earth. He saw himself as a boy, small and scared, but still brave enough to help a stranger. Vera's younger self appeared in the memory. Thin, weak, hungry, reaching out for the candy. Then the image vanished, replaced by a great throne room made of steel and glass under a red sky. "When I returned to my people," Vera continued, "I told them about you. I told them there was kindness in your world, but they did not believe me. They saw your species as greedy and violent. They saw your wars and your hunger for power." Her voice trembled for the first time. "They called me weak for sparing you." Liam turned to her. "Why bring me here then?" he asked. "Because you are the only proof I have left," she said, her eyes meeting his. "The Council is preparing to take Earth's oceans, its minerals, its air. They think your planet is nothing but another resource to burn. But if you can show them what I saw that night, they may stop." Liam felt his throat tighten. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't even a leader. He was just a man from a factory with an old memory and a stolen candy bar. "How am I supposed to show them that?" he asked quietly. Vera stepped closer. "By being who you are," she said. "You will speak to them. You will answer their questions. They will test you. And they will judge humanity through you." The door to the chamber opened, and 2 alien guards stepped inside. They were tall, armored, their eyes glowing with suspicion. One handed Liam a silver band, and Vera explained, "It will let you breathe our air and understand our language." He slipped it over his wrist and felt a small sting as it sank into his skin like ink into paper. Now the hum of the ship turned into words. Whispers he could almost understand. It was as if the stars were talking. They led him through long hallways where alien creatures moved with silent grace. He passed windows that showed worlds he didn't know existed, green oceans with floating cities, moons covered in silver forests, planets cracked open like broken eggs with glowing cores. Some creatures bowed to Vera, but others turned away. Whispering, their eyes cold, she leaned toward him and whispered, "They think I'm making a mistake." Finally, they reached a vast chamber filled with floating seats arranged in a circle. Each seat held an alien council member, some with wings like glass, some made of shimmering metal, some like living shadows. They all stared at Liam with curiosity and doubt. He felt like a bug under a magnifying glass. Vera stood tall and raised her hand. "This is Liam of Earth," she said. "He saved me when I was a child. I bring him before you as proof of what humans can be." A low murmur passed through the chamber like wind through dry leaves. One of the council members, a tall being with eyes like molten gold, leaned forward. "Human," it said, its voice like thunder underwater. "Why should your species be spared?" Liam's mouth went dry. He wanted to run, but Vera's hand brushed his, and he felt the warmth again. He took a breath and spoke, his voice shaking. "Because we're not perfect," he said. "We've done bad things. Yes, but we also build, we also help, we also care. I was just a boy with nothing, but I still gave her my food. You see our wars. But you don't see our kindness. We are more than what you think." The chamber went silent. Some of the council members shifted, their eyes narrowing. Others tilted their heads as if curious. The one with molten eyes leaned back. "We will see," it said simply. Then the floor of the chamber began to glow and lift. Carrying Liam upward like a rising platform, Vera's voice echoed softly in his mind. "They will show you our past and yours. They will test your heart." Liam's body shook as images flooded his vision, scenes of Earth's history mixed with alien wars. Hunger, kindness, betrayal. He saw humans saving strangers during disasters, but also building weapons that burned cities. He saw alien empires rising and falling. Planets saved and planets lost. It was too much, too fast. But he couldn't look away when it stopped. He was back in the chamber, kneeling, sweat on his face. Vera helped him up, her eyes full of worry. "You did well," she whispered. But before he could answer, another voice filled the room. A voice colder, sharper than the rest. "This human is not enough," it said. "The queen is blinded by a child's memory. Earth will burn, and she will fall with it." Liam looked up and saw an alien he hadn't noticed before. A dark figure with a silver mask, its eyes like black holes. The room shook as it rose from its seat, and Liam realized this wasn't just a test anymore. This was a war waiting to begin, and he was standing at the center of it. Liam couldn't sleep that night. The stars outside the window felt cold, distant, like they were watching him. His mind replayed the council chamber again and again, the voices. The glowing eyes, the final threat. He had stood in front of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. But now he felt smaller than ever. Vera sat silently across from him, her hands clasped, her crown removed. She looked more like the scared girl in the forest than the mighty queen she had become. "I'm sorry," Liam said softly. "I didn't know they hated Earth so much." "They don't hate Earth," she replied. "They fear it." She rose and touched the wall beside them. And once again, it changed into a wide screen of floating light. Images filled the space between them, burning cities, polluted oceans, human armies testing weapons on desert land. "These are the things they see when they look at your planet," Vera said, her voice low. "They fear your violence, your hunger, your history of conquest." Liam swallowed hard, guilt sinking into his chest. "I can't defend everything humans have done," he said. "But that's not all we are." "I know," Vera whispered. "That's why I'm giving them more than just words. I'm going to show them who you really are." Before he could ask what she meant, a deep hum echoed through the ship. Lights turned blue, and an alien voice spoke over the intercom. "Gate to the memory path is ready." Vera turned to Liam. "Come," she said. "It's time you walk where few ever have." They entered a long corridor that shimmered like glass. The walls pulsed with soft light, and the air felt heavier with each step. At the end was a circular chamber with no floor, only a glowing platform floating in space. Liam stepped onto it, and the world vanished, suddenly. He was standing in a giant alien city, but it was burning. Screams echoed through the air as shadowy ships fired down from above. Vera's voice came into his ears. "This is our past. Our first home was attacked by a species who only wanted what we had. The scene changed again. And now he stood in the middle of a shattered world. Alien children cried beside broken shelters, while soldiers in armor walked past without stopping. We were refugees, she said, hiding, running, begging to be seen. Then the images showed Earth, famous wars, collapsing towers, humans turning against each other, but then it shifted again. Doctors treating wounded strangers, volunteers rescuing animals from floods, children sharing food in war zones. Vera's voice returned. You are chaos and kindness, she said. Just like us. Liam's heart pounded. He was not just watching history, he was feeling it. Every scream, every laugh, every heartbreak pressed into his skin like heat. He fell to his knees. Breathing hard, suddenly a new voice spoke. One he hadn't heard before. You feel too much, it said. Cold and sharp, the scene around him froze. The masked alien from the council appeared, floating above the ground like smoke in armor. You're not a leader, the alien said, circling him. You're not even brave. You're just a man who gave away a piece of sugar. Liam looked up, anger boiling in his chest. Maybe that's true, he said. But I did it without knowing who she was. I didn't do it to get something back. Maybe that's what your empire forgot. The masked alien stared at him in silence, then vanished. The vision ended, and Liam was back in the chamber. Sweat on his skin, legs shaking. Vera knelt beside him, placing her hand on his. They are testing you, she said, but they are also testing me. Later that night, the ship grew quiet, but Liam couldn't rest. He wandered the halls, trying to clear his thoughts. Then he heard soft voices from behind a half-closed door. He moved closer, careful not to make a sound. Inside, alien council members whispered in a language he barely understood. But one word came up again and again: coup. He didn't need translation to know what that meant. They were planning to remove Vera from power. He rushed back to her chamber, bursting through the door. Vera, they're coming for you, he said. She looked up slowly, as if she already knew. They've been waiting for me to make one wrong move, she said quietly. If I fail this, they will say I've grown too close to the humans. What are you going to do? Liam asked. I don't know, she whispered, but I won't let Earth be destroyed. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. Alarms blaring in alien tones. Vera turned to the screen. Enemy ships were approaching fast. But they were from inside her own empire. The traitors were making their move. Guards rushed in, weapons drawn. Vera stood tall and faced them, her voice steady. Protect the human, she ordered. He is the key. One of the guards, loyal to her, turned to Liam. We have to get you back to Earth, he said. Now, and just like that, Liam was running again. Running for his life, for his planet, and maybe for the Queen who once needed his help. Now she needed him again, but this time, it wasn't just about candy, it was about war, survival, and the future of two worlds. Asterisk, the ship shook like a dying beast as alarms screamed through the air. Liam stumbled, catching himself against the wall as red lights flashed overhead. The guard beside him barked something in a language Liam couldn't understand, then switched to English. They're attacking the royal wing, he said. We don't have much time. Vera had stayed behind, refusing to run. She had given one final command: get Liam back to Earth, no matter what it takes. Now, Liam was sprinting through alien corridors with steel walls and flickering lights. The floor rumbled under his feet and above them. He could hear explosions closer every second. How are they attacking from inside the ship? He asked. Breathless, they were waiting, the guard replied. Some of her commanders turned against her. They've been hiding weapons for years. A heavy door opened, revealing a small pod with strange curved seats and glowing controls. This escape vessel is cloaked, the guard explained. It will take you to the surface of Earth. Liam froze. "You're sending me home," he said. "But Vera, she can't protect Earth if she's dead," the guard snapped. "And right now, you're her only voice." The pod launched without sound. But Liam felt his stomach drop as it shot out into space. Through a small window, he saw flashes of battleships chasing each other. Beams of blue light tearing through the darkness. And in the middle of it, the great mothership burned, a slow, silent fire curling through its wings. As Earth grew larger in the window, Liam's hands tightened into fists. He had left as a guest. Now he was returning as a warning. The pod entered Earth's atmosphere, cloaked in fire and wind. It landed in a desert outside a small town, kicking up a storm of dust before Liam could take a breath. Helicopters appeared in the sky, and black vans surrounded him. He didn't resist when they pulled him out. He had been through this before. Only this time, they didn't mock him. They listened. He told them everything: the coup, the council, the fleet preparing to attack. He showed them the alien band on his wrist, the glowing memories they had placed in his mind. They didn't believe everything, but they believed enough. Within hours, he was flown to the United Nations, where world leaders argued in circles. Some wanted to fire missiles into the sky. Others wanted to surrender. Liam stood before them and raised his voice. "They don't want your land or power," he said. "They want proof that we're better than our worst moments. You keep showing them war, and they'll give you one back." Still, many doubted until the signal came. A low hum filled every device on Earth phones. TVs, satellites, then a message appeared. A hologram of the masked alien appeared in every city. His voice smooth like poison. "Your queen is weak," he said. "Your world will be ours by sunrise. You have nothing we need, nothing we respect. You are animals who destroy your own planet." And then the skies darkened. Alien ships broke through the clouds, hundreds of them. Silent, massive, blocking out the stars. Cities froze in fear. Sirens blared. Families hugged their children, waiting for the end. But nothing happened. Not yet, because one final message broke through the airwaves. This time, it was Vera's voice. "Weak but firm, people of Earth," she said. "You once gave me kindness when I had nothing. I am still alive. I still believe in you." Her image appeared, blood on her forehead, armor cracked, crown missing. But her eyes burned like fire. "You must choose," she said. "Show them who you are, not just to save yourselves, but to save what you can become." Liam stepped forward again, this time speaking not to leaders, but to the people, on live broadcast with the entire world watching. He told them about the night in the forest, about the candy, the hunger in her eyes, the silent thank you. He told them how a single act of kindness had shaken an empire, how their future now rested on whether they could repeat that kindness, not just once, but together. In the streets, people lit lanterns. They raised signs not of fear, but of welcome. Children gave food to strangers. People hugged soldiers. Doctors worked without sleep across the globe. Humanity stood still, not in panic, but in unity. And then something impossible happened. The alien ships paused. Not one fired. Instead, they sent a single beam of light to Earth's surface, and from it, a figure appeared. Vera. Standing tall, weak, but alive, behind her. The traitorous masked alien was held in chains. The crowd gasped as she looked around. "You passed," she said, voice trembling. "You reminded us what we had forgotten. That hope lives even in chaos." Liam stepped forward. And for the second time in his life, they held hands, not as strangers, but as symbols of what two worlds could be. Above them, the ships pulled back, rising into the sky like stars returning home. And in that quiet moment, Earth was not small. It was not broken. It was not weak. It was beautiful and worth saving. Asterisk, for the first time in history. Earth stood still. The alien ships, once looming like shadows of doom, were now drifting silently above the clouds. They didn't fire, they didn't leave. They simply waited. Vera's return changed everything. She had survived the coup, broken the enemy's control, and stepped onto Earth not as an invader, but as a witness. Her armor was cracked, her energy low, but her voice remained strong. "The decision isn't only mine anymore," she said quietly. "My empire is watching." And they are afraid. Liam walked beside her through the halls of the United Nations building. Reporters shouted, cameras flashed, guards lined every wall. But all he could hear was her breathing, slow and heavy. He could see how much the fight had taken from her. She was still the queen, but she was also the same girl who had once sat in the forest. "Scared and starving, they want peace now," Liam said. "You proved them wrong." Vera shook her head slowly. "Some want peace," she whispered. "Others still believe Earth must be erased before it becomes a threat. They think we are foolish for trusting humans outside." People held signs that read, "Welcome Vera," and "One World." 2 stars, children painted pictures of the mothership. Families waved from rooftops, but in the shadows. There were still whispers. Earth's leaders meeting in secret. Building plans, fearing betrayal, they were preparing missiles, just in case the peace didn't last. And the aliens knew it. The balance was breaking. All it needed was one spark. That night, the spark came, a human jet. Flown by a nervous young pilot, lost control during a routine flight. It flew too close to one of the alien ships. The alien sensors took it as a threat. Defense systems activated automatically. A blast of white energy struck the jet down. The explosion lit up the night sky. Within minutes, chaos returned. Earth's forces locked weapons on the alien fleet. Alien commanders issued orders to prepare for retaliation. The peace hung by a single thread, ready to snap. Liam and Vera were rushed to a command center underground. Screens showed the skies filling with weapons, countdowns starting, red lights blinking. "They're going to fire," someone said, both sides. Liam turned to Vera. "You have to stop them." "I can't," she replied. Her voice shaking. "Not alone. My command is weak after the coup." "They won't all listen to me. Then they'll listen to me," Liam said. He stepped forward, grabbed the communicator, and sent a message across both networks, Earth's and the aliens. His voice filled the airwaves. "Stop," he said. "Please. Just stop." He stood in front of the camera. His hands open, eyes wide with fear and hope. "A mistake happened tonight," he said, "but we are not mistakes. I know you've seen our violence, our anger, our fear. But if you strike now, you prove your fear was always stronger than your hope." He turned toward the screen that showed alien faces watching. "You fear what we could become," Liam said. "But you haven't seen what we're trying to be. Give us time. Give us trust. The same trust a little girl gave me when she took candy from a stranger." Silence filled the room. Seconds passed like hours. Everyone waited. Then the alien ships pulled back. Slowly rising into the upper atmosphere, missile locks were removed. Alarms stopped ringing. Countdowns froze. A breath of relief moved through the planet like wind after a storm. Vera touched Liam's shoulder. "You did it?" she whispered. He turned to her, tired but smiling. "No," he said. "We did later that evening." A global gathering was held at the first human-alien peace dome in South Africa. Leaders from Earth and alien representatives sat at the same table. Together, they signed the first agreement of unity, the Skybridge Accord. It promised no invasion, no weapon sharing, no colonization. Only knowledge, trade, and shared protection against threats beyond both worlds. Vera stood before the crowd, holding the old candy wrapper in her hand. Now placed inside a crystal case. "This," she said, "was given to me when I had nothing. It was not food. It was a gift, a message that I was not alone. She turned to Liam. He reminded me of what I nearly forgot, she said. That kindness can survive even in dark times. Liam stood beside her as the crowd applauded. His name was now known across two worlds, not as a soldier or a king, but as a boy who gave candy and saved Earth with hope. But in the far reaches of space, beyond any known system, another ship listened. Its walls were black, its lights red, and its leaders watched Earth with silent eyes. They had no interest in peace, no love for kindness. They saw the treaty as weakness, and they were coming. Not for talks, but for conquest. Earth had won peace today. But the stars still held war in their shadows. And Liam's story wasn't over yet. The sun rose slowly over the hills, casting gold across the earth. But this sunrise was different. It rose on a world forever changed, a world that had survived the edge of war. A world that had looked up into the stars and was seen. The treaty with Vera's empire was signed. And for the first time in history, humans had allies beyond their sky. Technology began to flow quietly between the two civilizations' healing machines. New energy, floating transports. The world didn't become perfect overnight. But it had taken a new path, a better one. And Liam? The factory worker who had once stolen candy as a child, had become a symbol, not a soldier, not a president, not even a hero in the traditional sense, but a reminder that sometimes the smallest act can change everything. He stood on a balcony of the alien embassy, watching children from Earth and alien planets play together. Their laughter filled the air. Bright, loud, full of life, Vera stepped beside him, wearing a soft gown instead of her usual armor. For once, she looked free, tired, but free. They laugh like there was never a threat, she said softly. Liam smiled. Maybe that's how we heal. She looked at him for a long moment. You still think like the boy who gave me candy? He laughed. I don't know who I am anymore. You are exactly who you need to be, she said. From her side, she brought out a small black box. What's this? Liam asked. She opened it slowly, revealing a candy barge just like the one he had given her all those years ago, wrapped in silver foil, but protected by a small shield of alien glass. This is the last one made on my world, she said. We call it the Seed of Trust now. He blinked. Not sure if she was joking, but her eyes were serious. Whenever someone is lost, or afraid, or hungry, I give them one, she said. And I tell them about you. Liam swallowed hard, emotion caught in his chest. You don't have to do that, but I do, she replied. Because you didn't save just me, you saved what I became. She looked out toward the sky, her voice quieting, but peace is a fragile thing. He nodded slowly. I know, in the distance. A dark ship entered the atmosphere. It was not like the others. No smooth shape, no bright lights, no welcoming message. The design was sharp, armored, and marked with red scars. Is that one of yours? Liam asked. Vera's eyes narrowed. No, she said. That's something else. The sky darkened again as more of the same ships followed. Not hundreds, but enough to send chills across the planet. A signal came through, not with words, but with a deep, vibrating pulse, like a growl that echoed in the bones. Vera turned quickly and tapped her wristband, calling her guards. They weren't supposed to arrive this soon, she said. Liam stepped back. You knew they were coming. I feared it, she admitted. We've seen them watching us from the edges of space. Then why didn't you tell us? Because Earth needed to believe in peace before preparing for war, she said. Now, maybe you'll fight for the right reasons. Panic broke out across cities as the foreign ships hovered silently above the oceans. Human leaders tried to contact them, but no response came. Alien embassies were placed on alert, defenses powered on. The Sky Bridge Accord had barely begun, and now it faced a test far greater than anyone expected. Vera stepped forward on a global broadcast. She wore her full armor again, crown gleaming like a weapon. "I am Queen Vera of the Crystal Empire," she said, "and I stand with Earth. If you challenge this world, you challenge me, beside her." Liam stood not in armor, not with weapons, but with the same quiet strength he had shown from the beginning. He didn't raise a fist. He simply raised the candy box and said, "If you want to take this planet, you better understand who we are." Across Earth, people stood behind him. Farmers, teachers, doctors, mechanics, children and elders. They didn't hold swords. They held their hands out to each other. Because this time, the battle wouldn't be won by fire. It would be won by unity, as the enemy ships prepared their weapons. Earth lit up not in fear, but in light. Cities turned on their highest beams, not to hide, but to shine. Satellites blinked messages of peace into space. And in every home, a candle was lit, a signal of hope. The foreign fleet paused, and in that pause was power. Liam looked at Vera and whispered, "Whatever happens next, thank you." She didn't reply with words. She just placed the candy bar in his hand and smiled, because sometimes peace starts with war. But war doesn't have to end in fire. Sometimes it ends in candy, and the memory of a boy who chose kindness as the sky held its breath, and stars waited to see what Earth would become. Liam stood still, a man made of simple moments, holding a future far bigger than himself. And far above, in the blackness of space, new stories were about to begin. But this one had found its end. Not with a bang, but with a rapper and a queen who never forgot.